Let's take a live look inside the White House press briefing, where any moment now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will take to that podium to answer questions from reporters. And likely to come up during that is that contentious Oval Office clash over unsupported allegations of genocide in South Africa. That happened during a face-to-face meeting with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Let's go live now to CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro, who is outside the White House for us. Aaron, Caroline Leavitt likely to face questions on that meeting, specifically on that video that Trump played during that sit-down. What do you know?
Yeah, Liz, it's expected that there will be questions about that, given that there are remaining questions about the White House's characterization of what's happening in South Africa as a full-on genocide, as well as some of the images in that video. Our CBS Confirmed team took a look at one clip of that video showing white crosses on the side of the road that the White House and President Trump claimed represent white farmers, when in actuality, in this 2020 video, the protests who organized those crosses say they're supposed to represent farmers of all races. But primarily, we're also looking to see if the president has any developments, if the White House has any developments on the killings of the Israeli embassy workers last night here in Washington, D.C., looking to see if the president has been in touch with those families. We got a statement from Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu's office saying that he has spoken with President Trump, and according to the statement, the president expressed, quote, deep sorrow over the shocking murder in Washington last night. And last quick thing, the activity in Congress, the passing of that budget bill, which the president has called, quote, one big beautiful bill. Now that it goes to the Senate, does the White House have any update on how they will navigate the bill through that chamber? Are there any differences that they're expecting potentially in the actual framework of the bill or the approach from the president? All things we could hear Caroline Leavitt talk about in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, those are the headlines we're keeping our eye on. Also, Aaron, we'll be watching for reaction from that breaking news about a judge blocking President Trump's executive order to completely dismantle the education department. What do we know about that?
Yeah, this judge, primarily a federal judge appointed by former President Biden, put out this decision that it prevents the Trump administration from carrying out what's known as its reduction in force, kind of the mass layoffs of education department workers there. They also blocked the transfer of the management when it comes to federal student loans and special education functions to other agencies outside of the education department. And the judge wrote that there's no evidence that the White House, the administration, is pursuing a legislative goal to reduce this federal department. Remember, the education department was created by Congress, and law to abolish it essentially will require approval of Congress. The federal judge in this decision said there's been no evidence the White House is actually looking to do that. And the judge also added, quote, there is no evidence that the reduction in force has actually made the department more efficient. The closing of the education department, of course, has been a goal President Trump has had on the campaign trail. It's been a goal of the new education secretary, Linda McMahon, but it's also wrapped in this whole shrinking of the federal government that we've seen from the administration, and particularly the Department of Government Efficiency.
And we're keeping an eye on that press briefing room, expected to start any moment now. Aaron Navarro, thank you so much.